welcome to another episode of the You Only Live Once Life and Business Innovation Style Meditations, Yummy Conversations, or
The Seeds of Life.
we're recording in two channels at the same time
At
today.
the same time, it's like an inception of two very artistic individuals.
We've just had
Passionate.
like 3 hours just chatting and brainstorming and going crazy, and in terms of creativity and a mishmash of all these ideas and execution that we've been putting in, not only for our own businesses, but really like seeing how we have both taken our own passion business into the world and seeing that multiply in all the different ways, in terms of community, in terms of meeting amazing results, and like just clients who blow our minds. And
yeah, it's like trading war stories and stories from the path, man. And I was mentioning off camera, like she's a living affirmation of everything that I've been speaking about, for the past year. And as I'm barreling down the end of my first year of this content journey, there's tons of lessons that I've came across along the way. And we decided to turn the cameras on to start sharing. What's the best way to offer value? Is to continue to share.
And today we're going to be talking about 5 ways and steps to build a brand that not only attracts your ideal clients, but also keeps them and really builds that real connection, people who you actually want to hang out with.
Yeah, so we wrote some of them down. So if you have a pen or pad, or don't have one, just stop the video, grab you a pen and pad, and take some notes, because we're about to drop some bombs, right? You want to go first with the first one?
All right, so the reason why we wanted to build a brand and why we wanted to talk about building brands is because if you don't have a brand, then it's very difficult for someone to think of you or think of a problem and immediately associate that with you. And you will literally be just this person who you will constantly have to market yourself and constantly work through this, especially if you're an entrepreneur. And even if you're working in a corporate environment, right? Like if you don't have an association that's attached to who you are, then you're constantly trying to sell yourself in a way that, okay, I'm the person who you want to be on your team and stuff like that. So the biggest important thing and the most easy way to kind of overcome that is to actually define and understand like what is your brand.
Yeah, so we started off with authenticity. So like you define your brand and build that off, be authentic, especially where you currently are, where your brand is currently at, right? You want to start, like not everybody starts at the finish line, you have the starting point. So be authentic with yourself and talk about where are you or where your brand is starting from.
And the reason we chose this, and we know there's so much information out there about how important it is to be authentic and how important it is to be yourself, but the reason why we chose this is because we're looking at brands that are sustainable. And especially if you're building a brand or a business around your passion, it needs to be something that is truly you, right? If you're trying to be this other persona or this thing that isn't really aligned with who you are and your values, then the energy is not going to last, and you may burn out in less than amount of time.
Burnout is real, trust me. Like burnout is real, especially when you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. So like whatever your brand stands for, if your brand has not created that result just yet, you want to first be the first one. You want to be the leader to go first. So as the leader of this brand, you have to create that result for your brand, and then each one teach one, right? So as you learn, you teach, right? I have these 3 principles that my channel lives by: the learn, do, teach. So we're constantly learning and we're constantly doing, and through the act of doing is a teachable moment in itself, right? So like there's some results that my brand is seeking that haven't come to fruition yet, but I'm authentic with that, and I'll let my audience know that I'm on this path and we can grow together, right? If you're joining the path with me, we can grow together. So be authentic with who you are, and sky's the limit from there.
Absolutely. So, for me, it's like freedom, fun, and inspired connection. So in every part of the brand, you'll see that the reason why we do everything is based on these 3 points. And these 3 points, these values, and these brand authentic words are things that, we work on with clients one-on-one to figure out what is it exactly that's for them. So the second point that's really important is understanding for your brand, like who, what, and why you exist.
Yeah. So like who is your product or service for? What sort of problem you can help them solve, and like why? Like why is it, like what problem that they drawing a little mental blank, but what and why is that problem? Why does that problem exist, basically? And when you figure that out, then you can identify basically your target audience and grow that community from there.
So if you already have a target audience and you're already working with the target audience, you just have to find out what the biggest problem is and how your product is a solution to that problem. Because the biggest challenge is if you're talking to everyone and you're not talking to a specific person, then you're really not talking to anyone. And we make this mistake all the time by talking in generals, right? But people don't search in general. People search for specific things, and that's where you want to pop up. So that's about who.
Yeah. So like we was just making this little analogy off camera too. Like a lot of knowledge bombs. We should let you guys in on these. Like
I know, we should just have like podcasts.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was very long, but it was like when you're searching on Google, right, or you're searching on Amazon or wherever, Facebook, like you're typing keywords for very specific things, right? And for instance, like the last thing that I bought on Amazon was a drone, right? And I'm like, why am I searching? So I'm typing in best drone in that, right? And then there's all these different brands that come up. But then I just stayed with DJI because they did a really good marketing campaign on educating you on how to use it, what their product does, who their product is for, etc., etc. So whatever your brand is, you want to be able to educate your audience on, is it for them, why should they use it, when should they use it, and how should they use it.
Absolutely. And that really helps them understand when and see how you can see how they can integrate your product into their lives. So the next thing is about community, right? Like as you're creating your brand and as you're creating your business, there's got to be an understanding of what kind of audience in a group, what your audience in a group looks like, right? Like, do they have common values? Do they have common things and common goals and common problems that they have? And the reason it's important to have them all in a group is because the type of interactions and the type of value that comes when you put many, many people together is way more than what each individual person can get from using or interacting with your product.
Yeah, the community also is going to be writing for your brand too. There are going to be newcomers that come in and interacting with your brand, and there's going to be some veterans, right? The veterans are going to help. The veterans are going to be the ones that's been with you from day one, and they're going to help the newbies come, and because the newbies going to come full of problems, and the veterans are going to have all those problems solved. So you're going to rely upon your community to be that voice for you for when you're not there. So building a community is definitely essential for longevity of your brand.
Yeah, especially if you have frameworks, right? Like for example, like our frameworks for the innovation style is these 8-step frameworks. And if we already have people who have gone through that journey within 6 months, built their businesses and started selling to their clients and started getting results for their clients, then those success stories in turn becomes inspiration and motivation for people who have really hard times just jumping in, right? And like when you think of the first moments and the hardest times that you've had and that you've overcome, like it's much easier for you to use your own story to inspire someone also move along, and then have someone else who sees where you are and be like, dude, like I see exactly where you are, and these are the things that are blocks that you may not even notice, and then you can jump over them easier as well. And that happens in a community because that happens when you have a lot of people looking at you.
And exponential growth, right? Because as those problems get solved, it's just going to be faster. So then your brand's progression is going to go even faster. So building blocks in the beginning is going to be tough, but as your brand overcomes those obstacles, as your audience overcomes those obstacles, it's just going to be funneling people left and right, and they're going to search for your brand name as opposed to the keyword of the problem, if that makes sense.
So do you want to share a little bit about like your community and the values that you see in yours, and then we can share about mine?
Yeah. So like for instance, my community is the personal training community. So it's a group of fitness professionals who are constantly seeking different ways on how they can monetize their message, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing with them is providing them with the tools and resources in order to do so. So I am, the leader, so I go first. So I am going on these content challenges. I am building these websites. I am going and hosting these town hall sort of meetings. So with that, I'm able to, answer any questions because I know and I have been through all those different obstacles. So as I overcome those obstacles from learning and doing, I teach, and just wash, rinse, and repeat.
Watch, rinse, and repeat. Absolutely. So for me, it's a lot about personal development. So a lot of the clients who come to me, they have this mission, that they have this potential that they really, really want to solve. And not only is it about building a business, but it's really understanding what that business and in essence is, if it's a soul level business or something that is within them that is just on path, right? Like they feel like they're on purpose, they're fulfilled, and this is exactly what they want to do. So the community that I have not only is caring about personal growth, but is also caring about business transformation. Mm-hmm. So it's very highly positive people who take action, people who want to live all over the world, a lifestyle. But like you said, it's like I have to go through the door. I have to be living in so many different countries in 1 year. I have to be traveling, showing you that you can build a business that travels with you. And to be able to do this right now, like I'm in Boston, I've just been here for a little over a month, and I'm replicating the entire model that I did in 2.5 years, but I'm doing this in like 6 months, right? And just showing you that this is possible, you can do this, and these are the steps that you need to take. And so the community that I'm building are also these kind of people who, just like you, who are also trying to get your stuff off the ground and be more authentic and create a business and brand that lasts, that's beyond a certain amount of time and sometimes for a lifetime, and that evolves with you.
Yeah.
So the values of freedom, fun, and inspired connection is within. So in our last point, we wanted to talk about a little bit about how you can use this idea that we just talked about, the authenticity, the community, the who, what, why, and the actual consistency that we can use in order to forward our brand.
Yeah, you got to show up every day. There's like no days off. I know there's like we also talked about burnout, and when I say no days off. It doesn't mean that you have to go pedal to the metal. It's just like keeping your eye on your vision. Like everything that you do is for the keeping your eye or getting yourself closer to your vision, right? There's no lacking or keeping your gaze and letting it wander to all those other shiny objects. But there are times for rest and leisure, but every day you gotta ask yourself, like, am I where I want to be? If not, how do I get myself closer, right? Those questions over and over every single day will get you a lot closer. And you want to be consistent with that, because never waver. There are going to be awesome things coming, and there's different, marketers out there that can manipulate you or use the right words to paint this illusion in your mind. But if you have that vision, only you can see that vision. And at the end of the day, they can't put that vision in place of your own. So stay true and be consistent.
If you have a question on what your vision actually is, and sometimes people have a hard time finding it, and if your vision is not strong enough, you're just going to lose track and you're going to go for those shiny objects or those like new inputs and new ideas and new people talking to you. So if you don't know what it is, I did create a video called Your Yummy Vision, so you can hop on and check that out. But you really, really have to find what your vision is. Your vision needs to be something that not only pulls you forward, but it's going to last through you in the darkest of storms, in the coldest of places, in the places where nobody else knows what you're doing, but you're the only one who can carry that light for yourself. Of course, there's a community as well. However, most of the time, 24 hours in a day, you are with yourself.
Yeah.
And so this vision needs to be strong enough to carry you through that. And that is what's going to create the consistency.
Yeah, you are your own best friend. Like, there's an awesome book, How to Be Your Own Best Friend. And like, what do you say to yourself on a daily basis is what's going to hone true and what's going to get you your results. So if you're feeling like you're stuck and you keep telling yourself that you're stuck, you don't know what to do, that is going to manifest itself. But if you rewrite that script, like, I know exactly what actions I need to take. I'm going to take those actions today and nothing's going to stop me. Those are the feedback that you want to hear through those ears of yours every single day.
And you want to be surrounded by people who are taking these actions, right? Just like how we are feeding off of each other's actions and just being motivated. And that's what the community can create for you as well. And so actually, this is the last point, is the type of content for your brand that you can use to bring people closer to you, to create not only that community, but also that authentic connection. Because what lasts is not a fake connection, but it is something that truly connects you with the people that you're working with, whether that is in the form of a service or a product.
Yeah. So you are not your brand, right? It's like what you do is not who you are at the end of the day. So it's like you're a human being and you're looking to connect with other human beings. So what are the things that you like to do? What are your interests outside of all this internet space? And talk about it. Be a human being, like, be authentic, going back to that authentic first one, and just have real conversations. Tell your story. Like, the world is in a story concept, right? And we're playing these stories in our minds. So if you want to be known for a story, right, you have to be the one to tell your story. So find that angle that interests you most and deliver that story through that angle.
And the easiest way for you to do that for your particular brand, and the way that I talk to my clients about it, is finding out exactly why you created your business or why you're doing this, right? And what was a turning point for that? Like, when did you actually, if you don't know what that is right now and you haven't decided to jump in and do this full on and full out and just fully commit to it, then find that reason, right? Like, find that reason for yourself, because this will become your brand story. This will become the thing that you will commit to. And then think about like where you were before this and then where you want to go after this as well. And that also becomes part of your journey. So the brand story, in essence, becomes not only about who you are, but why you're doing this. Mm-hmm. And that's what people resonate with the most. Of course, you can use many different ways in order to even get them to find you. Yeah. And those are other satellite pieces of who you are, right? Like, you can dissect yourself, like physically or by hobbies or by education or by any of the experiences that you've had. And those are other little spider web ways of getting to your core. And ultimately, like, what people are going to be attracted to is who you are as a person and as that personal brand. If you're doing a one-person business or like a small business, however, if you're doing like a bigger, like you're thinking of growing it into a bigger company, then it's about defining those values and defining that personality for your company as a whole.
Yeah, totally agree.
So these are 5 steps to build a brand that can attract, connect, and totally just embrace your ideal clients.
All right. So, that was awesome. Yeah, we got plenty more building stages and, what sort of obstacles you're looking to overcome, and we'll respond accordingly.
It's 20 minutes, crazy. but there's one thing that I did want to share, and that's an analogy that I really like that we shared earlier today. So if you stayed till here, you rock. You are like the 1% who did, or maybe more. And then the thing is about the map, right? Like, all we're doing right now in all of these videos is we're actually sharing with you, these maps that have really taken us to where we are today. Mm-hmm. However, like, when you're on that journey and when you decide to step into that map, like step into that trail, that hiking trail, going to that mountain that we're describing to you about, that's when things will start shifting for you. Of course, you're not going to see the top of of the mountain in the first step, right? It's not like one big step. It's all these tiny steps. So for you, it's really to challenge you to take that next step up, right? And then keep coming back for more of these maps so that you can take more of these steps up. And we're going to be here, in the comment section to support you all the way through. So reach out, subscribe to both of our channels, and we're definitely going to do more of these.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. All right, guys. Till the next time.
See ya. Mwah.